Hey guys, it's Lizzie here. So today I'm going to show you how to do this very colourful makeup. I'm using a lot of new products that I've not tried out before, so you see my first impressions of them and my thoughts. But yeah, overall I'm very happy with this makeup look. So if you want to know how to recreate it, please stay tuned. And if you do like my videos, then please subscribe and hit the thumbs up below so I know what videos you like, so I can make more of them. So yeah, we'll jump straight in. So first up, I'm going to use this All Night Long primer. It's the Anti-Redness one from Bareminerals. There was a normal and Anti-Redness, and it's a stick. So I have used this a few times and it has worked quite well. As you might know if you've seen any of my videos, I'm not so keen on things that directly contact the skin, but I've been spritzing it with alcohol in between using it to keep it clean, because I just have quite bad acne and I don't want this to make it worse. Alright, so I put quite a lot of that on, and then yeah, like I said, I just give it a spritz and just leave that to dry. Okay, then I just blend this in with my hands. I have just washed my hands. As you can see, it takes down maybe like 2% of the redness, not a great deal, but it does feel very nice on the skin. It feels slightly like Professional, but a bit thinner, and I make sure it's really pressed into the skin. All I have on underneath is a moisturiser. Now for foundation, I haven't got anything new, but I am doing sort of a new combination of makeup, and it's a mixture of the Fresh Nude foundation from the Body Shop in Chelsea Porcelain, and then the Lock-It foundation in shade 42, I think, yeah, which is the lightest shade. So I've been doing one pump of each, and the reason for this is because I find it makes my skin have the coverage that I want, really. I just sort of mix the two together on the back of my hand. The Lock-It foundation is very thick, and so as it's quite sunny at the moment, I find it just ends up moving all around, and even with the primer and all the rest, it's very difficult. So I'm going to really buff this around the skin, and as you can see, that is covering quite well. And then I'm just going to spot conceal where I need to, as opposed to a thick layer all over. And I make sure to take it down my neck, not because the colour doesn't match, because it does, but because there's quite a lot of acne down here at the moment. So with a beauty sponge, I'm going to start patting on where I want some extra coverage. So next up for my concealer, I'm using Revolution Conceal and Define in shade C1. I've heard this is like Tarte Shape Tape. I've not used that personally, but I am quite excited to give it a go. So it's quite a big doe foot applicator. I'm going to put this under my eyes. I'm going to start with a little bit and then we'll work our way up. I think after I bought this they introduced some new shades. I don't know what they are, or if they're lighter than this. Also, it's blending out very easily. I'll just make this a bit lighter one moment, a bit better. Yeah, so that's definitely added a really nice extra layer of coverage. I don't know how long it lasts or if it creases or anything like that. Oh, with that primer, as I have actually used it already, so it's not a proper first impression, it does make my makeup last very well throughout the day. I've not had any problems with any foundations over the top of it. I have tried a few. So far it's been fine, and yeah, I'm quite happy with it. It was very affordable, it's vegan and cruelty free, so I'm quite pleased with that. Okay, so that's worked well under my eyes. I then can see there's quite a lot of redness here. So that's covered that really well. All you can see when I look straight on is the shadow. If you see where I moved to it, there's no shadow. There is no redness or colour. So it seems a lot easier to work with than the Urban Decay All Nighter, which sets very quick. Like, I would never be able to dot that everywhere and still have time to move it around. Now for under my eyes, I've got this e.l.f. HD Under Eye Setting Powder in Sheer. It says this light diffusing powder helps to camouflage fine lines, dark circles and imperfections. So I thought I'd give it a go. I've been wanting to try this for ages. And I've never been able to find it. It looks like this. It comes with this ridiculous brush. I mean, What am I setting with that? I'm not going to use that. Oh, it's one of where they have the little sticker over the top and I can never open them. Right, I'm going to put some into the lid. Should I use a brush or a sponge for this? Apply after concealer for extra coverage and to set alone. Use a brush, sweep underneath the eyes in an outwards. Blend to make it flawless. Okay, so I've got a clean brush. I'll just check there's no creases under my eyes. It hasn't really creased at all, that concealer. So that's amazing. It's creased on top of the eyelid, but I mean, that's always happened. I've never used a specific under eye setting powder. Oh, I have, that's a lie. One from Bareminerals, but it was the wrong colour for me. I gave it to a friend because it was just like a tiny bit too dark. Do you think that did anything special compared to a normal setting powder? It sort of looks fairly similar. It doesn't look cakey though, to be fair. It looks fine. I'm just going to put some on my eyelid as well. Right, okay, so I'll show you before and after setting it. It's yeah, it's alright. It sort of doesn't add a great deal more of texture. It is quite dry under here and, you know, it's not the smoothest area, so yeah, it looks good. We'll see if it creases throughout the day. I do think it's definitely sort of blurring. When I look at it from a distance, my skin looks a lot smoother. Now for the rest of my skin, I've got this new Bareminerals Bare Pro foundation in shade F1. I did ask the woman at the counter what makes it different to their original foundation and their acne foundation, both the powders, and that's what it looks like, it's pressed. And she said it is a higher coverage, so you do need less of it. So I find with the original formula, it does start to get quite creasy on me because it's not really powdery, it's very strange. So I'm gonna make sure it's not settled into any of my scars. And then I actually have a makeup brush from them for this sort of product, I hope. I'm gonna give this a go. I'm gonna set my chin first because that's the area that creases first. That's very smoothing as well, like blurring. Hopefully it creases less than the original one. The original one does add a really lovely layer of coverage, it's just, this is adding slightly more coverage, setting the makeup as well, which will give it a bit more longevity. I bought this in the hopes that I could put it over the liquid foundation, which if you watched my review of, didn't turn out like the best, mainly because of the colour. So I could hopefully lighten that by setting it with this. Okay, there we go. So it's made my skin pretty flawless looking. It's very flat now though. So just to also say, it does come with a sponge, which I did use to try on the back of my hand. One side is quite fluffy and the other side isn't, which is nice. Those sorts of sponges though, I do think are quite unhygienic and I would change them quite frequently and only use them if I had to. So far all the products are working out actually really well. So I'm just going to apply some eye primer. For that I'm using one by NYX. I don't have a new one, I don't think. Just pat that in. I'm just going to lightly set where I've put the primer. I do want it to be slightly tacky. It's always weird getting that balance between you don't want the products to really stick and then not be able to blend out, but you want them to stick and be brighter. So I sort of just put whatever powder's left on my brush over the top. First I'm going to take this light yellow shade from NYX and just put this everywhere, sort of through the crease. Actually, I'm going to take a slightly bigger brush. Now this one is a bit too neon, but it's only going to be used as a transition. I'm then going to take a slightly more mustard shade on a smaller brush and blend this into the same area. So just going directly over the top. This one will start to warm up the more acidity of that other one. And then in here, I'm just going to take it a little bit higher So it's touching the start of the brow. Obviously if you don't like this, don't do that. And if you want it more winged out, you can do that, you know, leave it about however you like. So what I am noticing, I don't know if you'll be able to see, in here and in here, my concealer or something's like cracking. But if it was that under eye powder, we would be doing it everywhere and it's not. So I think it could have been the makeup primer, maybe I put too much in there. And then back to the first brush just to make sure it is all blending out smoothly. Next up I'm going to take, I think it's Devil, yeah, the orange shade from the Saint and Sinner palette. I'm going to attempt to use this brush. It has got a few, oh god no, it's got loads of like stray hairs now. Oh. Hang on. Okay, I'm not going to use that brush. I'm going to use a short pencil brush. So again, I'm going to put this roughly in the same area. So what we're creating is a nice gradation from orange to skin colour, going through yellow. The Burning Hearts palette by Sugar Pill would be really good for this as well. And then once we put the colour on, we're going to just blend it, first with a brush with no product on, just to see how far we can blend it. Okay, so as you can see I've done a bit more. I took the orange Devil colour under my eyes and just blended it in. And then on my eyelids, what I'm going to do is take this NYX Full Throttle eyeshadow stick in the shade 3. Electric Surface. It's a blue. It's really nice. It's not the shade of blue that I end up with, but I think actually it does look cool, this colour. In my head I pictured this makeup look being a dark blue, so but I think this is cool by itself. So I'm drawing a bit on, and then I'm getting some on a brush, just a small flat synthetic brush. All my brushes are synthetic, but if you have both, use a synthetic one for this. And then I'm going to start moving it around to the shape I want, which is just sort of like a semicircle on the eyelid. This stuff is really pigmented and it sort of sets, so I find it's better than using a jumbo pencil for this. You could use a concealer, like how people do cut creases and things. If you wanted, that would also work. But the reason for doing this is because it will make your blue eyeshadow more vibrant. It will make it last longer if it's not a jumbo pencil, as a crease. And blue and orange are opposite each other on the colour wheel, so if you were to just put the blue directly over, because there was still some orange on the eyelid, they would mix together and make brown. And we don't want brown, we want a definite blue and a definite orange. On another flat brush, I'm going to take Ministry from the Kat Von D Saint and Sinner palette, really tap it off because it is a dark metallic shade, and then I'm going to pat it on. Now because that blue is slightly sticky, it will really cling to the product, which is what we want. And for this it isn't about blending, it's literally just pressing the brush onto the area. It will give you the best colour payoff and the least amount of fallout. So I don't know if you can see the difference now between the two, that this one I've slightly blended out, but not so much so that the blue starts to mix with the orange and become brown, like I mentioned before. So how to do that is I've just got a small fluffy pencil brush, so it's one with quite long bristles, and I'm just going to lightly buff this line. So it is a bit annoying and slow, but if you go too crazy with this, you're just going to get a murky colour. And I really sort of stretch my eyelids, so I'm really pulling my head back so that we can get this the best blended it can be. I'm then going to take Asteroid from Bareminerals. It's one of their holographic eyeshadow toppers. I'm going to take it on a small brush and just do a line up the centre of the eyelid. And then what I'm going to do is just pat out the edges. Well, at the moment it's looking pretty odd. We'll wait for it to dry and then I'm going to put powder over the top, which will blend it a bit smoothly, but this will add a nice light base. So that's how the colour looks on the back of my hand. You can see it's got the really light flash to it. Next I'm going to take the blue shade from the BH Cosmetics Blacklight highlighting palette. It's called Cream. You're going to take that on this weird brush from Cruelty and pat that over the top of this. And then I'm going to just dust the brush side to side and blend out the edges. Now because it is a powder, it will blend into that dark blue eyeshadow, the Ministry one, slightly easier than that Bareminerals top coat. So I've cleaned up that brush I applied the blue cream with, and I'm taking NYX Milk Jumbo Pencil. It's the white one. Again, you could use any eye primer or concealer or nothing, would be fine. And I'm basically going to put it in this area and then put the blue powder over the top. It needs a bit more blending. So I'm just patting this on as a nice base. And then I'm taking the Queen colour and just patting that on top. First directly over the white, and then I'm going to start to blend it. And because Milk sort of moves around quite a bit, I am like placing my brush in lots of different directions so that I'm setting the whole thing. And then when there's less on the brush, I'm just going to sort of move it about. Okay, so I've just done some winged eyeliner. I'm going to leave my mascara till last. I'm going to take that first brush and just really blend around the edges just to make sure everything is really smooth. And for my blush, I'm going to use something I've not used in a very long time. Again, this is all sort of relatively new products for me. It's by Sleek and it's in the shade Life's a Peach. I have used this in a tutorial before. I can't remember what. It's very orange. I don't know if this is going to be a bad idea. I'm going to take a little bit on here and just start dusting it on the tops of my cheeks and the front of them. It's definitely out of my comfort zone. I normally wear blushes that sort of match the colour that my cheeks naturally would blush, which isn't orange. And then I'm going to take the lighter orange from my Gosh palette. This one's slightly metallic. I just feel like I'm looking pretty matte. Now for my highlighter, I'm going to take a mixture of Ethereal and Glow from the other BH Cosmetics highlighting palette. I'm then going to take another new product, and it's by Essence, and it's called Glow to Go Illuminating Setting Spray. I'm going to give it a good shake and spritz this on. And then immediately after, the Kat Von D setting spray. I'm going to take my damp sponge and just lightly press. So this one has a nice sort of iridescent sparkle to it. I don't know if I can show you on the back of my hand. If I spritz some on. I don't know if you'll be able to tell. There's like a pink shift to it. Now for my brows, I've got the eyebrow marker No Transfer Natural Tattoo Brow by Kiko. I have used this a little bit. It didn't work too well because because there's so much powder in my brows, so actually I'm going to go through them first with the spoolie. Still not convinced it will work too well. All the powder sort of dries up the tip. But if it doesn't work, we can try something else. So it's like mildly working. Okay, so that's done something. It is a bit hard work and it does start to feel very dry. Okay, so I've done my brows. I then went over the top with the NYX brow mascara. So for my lashes, I'm going to use a new mascara as well. And for that I'm using the That's How I Roll by Bareminerals. It's a waterproof mascara, so I am going to curl my lashes beforehand because a waterproof mascara will keep that curl, whereas a normal mascara won't. And then I think we're done. Oh, lips. Do I have a new lipstick? I think I do. Yeah, I'm going to do this off camera because it's fairly basic. I'll show you the brush though. I basically started using this by chance because I lost my H&M High and Mighty, and then I looked in 2 H&Ms here in Sheffield where I've sort of moved to, and they don't have any makeup, so I'm going to have to order them online. But this is the brush. This is going to work. It's just like a plasticky brush with fairly short bristles. Fairly similar to the H&M one, just not as good. So here we go guys, this is the finished look. Now on my lips I used a mixture of 2 liquid lipsticks from Pretty Zombie Cosmetics in Wednesday and Unusual. I couldn't really tell too much of a difference between them. I still can't really describe how they're different. They both have they're both like a black base with a teal to blue and purpley shift. One looks like it's slightly darker and maybe chunkier and less teal. I don't know, they both look great. I put them over the top, and then whatever was left on that brush I used on the inner corner, I patted on the top in the centre just to give it a bit more blue. Yeah, overall I'm very happy. So to sort of review the skin and the products that I used that were new, the under eyes hasn't creased, so I think the under eye setting powder was fine. I think those problems I was having in the inner corner were due to too much primer. I think my skin's looking really good, really smooth. Here it's creased quite a bit in my scars, but that's literally always the case. I've not found anything that doesn't do that, so you know, there's not much that can be done about that. And yeah, overall I'm very happy. I like all the colours and stuff. I think it looks really good. So I hope you got some inspiration from this. Obviously you could pair this up with any lip colour, you could do any colour combination but in a similar style, whatever you fancy really. But thank you so much for watching and sharing your support. If you like my videos, then please subscribe. It means that I can reach more people, which would be fantastic. So thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.